It has been the question on everyone's lips. Eberechi Eze to Arsenal. What is going on? And I went ahead to obviously dig deep into this, and I was like, I need to obviously come and really reveal this to my people who are really the viewers of the Rokani Media Football, because you've been questioning for this, and finally I've gotten an answer for you. Eberechi Eze to Arsenal plan has been revealed by the people at Arsenal. And then Morgan Rogers, one of the best players in the Premier League last season, has obviously gone ahead to get an injury, and we're obviously going to be letting you know why Barcelona decided to obviously get or dethrone Ter Stegen from the captaincy of the club that he has been there for a lot of times possible. Smash the like button, comment and share. If at all you're watching us for the very first time, endeavor to subscribe to this channel so as not to miss out on stories that we do upload in here on a daily. Now, you know what happens when a club really loses a game? Very many fans obviously come out and really say, please, we need another player, because when the club is winning, most fans don't really see to it that it is really lacking a certain ingredient to obviously open up and create more chances. And for Arsenal, I've already told you that Gabriel Martinelli is really nothing at Arsenal. The level at which Arsenal is going to have to be reaching right now, they don't need a player like Martinelli. For that, I'll speak it. I've spoken it for years, and you will come one day and really agree with me that Arsenal need a player who is better. That's why you see to it that when Trossard is really playing that position, Arsenal is really creating on both flanks. With Saka cooking on the right, Trossard also cooks onto the left. Now, I want to ask you yesterday, so I want to ask you, for what you saw yesterday, did you see anything close to a Martinelli chance? You know, or a Martinelli really pulling out a brilliant move to release Gyökeres. And Arsenal know this very well. That's why they are also interested in signing Eberechi Eze. That is it. And today we have a story from the Times that will obviously excite Arsenal fans all over the world, because the plan was to bid this week. But looks like there is a twist in what they're obviously gonna be doing. Now, the Times is telling us that Arsenal are currently focused on offloading players before finalizing a move for Eberechi Eze. However, they are monitoring the possibility of securing Rodrigo from Real Madrid on a loan deal. So guys, Arsenal is having a plan to bring in, by the way, now 2 players, you know. Eberechi Eze is gonna join Arsenal. That is it. By the end of the summer transfer window, Eberechi Eze will be a certified Arsenal player. And what's the plan for bringing Eberechi Eze? Having gone ahead to bring in 6 players, Arsenal are really planning to obviously offload players to obviously create space for Eberechi Eze and maybe secure some money. And which of these players Arsenal is planning to obviously offload? 1, Reiss Nelson, who is expected to go to Fulham. 2, Zinchenko, who is expected to go. Is it Borussia Dortmund? There is a team that is really interested in him. You know, even is it Crystal Palace? There is a Premier League team that is really interested in Zinchenko. The other one that might leave is Jakub Kiwior, and if he leaves, that's when Arsenal will obviously go in to sign another centre back. But he can also leave. From Jakub Kiwior, and remember for Jakub Kiwior, FC Porto put in a bid, I think of close to, is it 30 million euros, and Arsenal turned it down, meaning that they still want the player. But it will depend on whether the player wants to stay or wants to leave. You understand? So the other player that Arsenal might think of selling is none other than Gabriel Jesus. You know, Gabriel Jesus has been at Arsenal ever since the summer of 2022, but it's not that he hasn't produced what we expect from him every time he has been available, but he has lessly been available. Every time he has been available, Jesus has gone ahead to cook and has gone ahead to obviously help the club of Arsenal. And I tell you what, this time round, Arsenal might think of selling him like I really predicted. You know, I predicted last summer that these 2 players, Tomiyasu and Gabriel Jesus, if they don't work on their fitness and their variability, they will obviously have forced output Arsenal in a situation of not looking back from selling them. Because if you are a guy, if you're a team like Arsenal and you're having Gabriel Jesus, he earns close to £250,000 a week. You know, he's not playing game in, game out. For the previous 3 seasons, he hasn't played 20 Premier League games plus. Then no need to obviously keep him around. You understand? So I think that the 4, there is even Fabio Vieira. So Arsenal needs to first offload players, maybe to obviously do this deal of Eberechi Eze. But I tell you what, Eze has turned down all offers from other clubs and he only wants to join Arsenal. So I don't know what your thoughts are about the plan of Arsenal to obviously bring in a lad known as Eberechi Eze. You know? Do you think the plan will obviously work, or you prefer Arsenal to go in and really execute it immediately? I know Arsenal still has the money with them, because when you look at the amount of money they're going to have to spend, I don't think it's really a lot, you know? Let's say 70 million euros on a player known as Jokeris, that is like 63 million pounds. Let's say 65 million pounds, okay. Then they've gone ahead to sign Noni Madueke for 55. That is 120, right? From 120, they brought in Mosquera. He was like for 10 million pounds. You understand? That is like 130 million pounds. Kepa Zabalaga for 5, 135 million pounds. Then Zubimendi came in for like 50 million pounds. That is 190, million pounds. Who is the other? Norgard, meaning that Arsenal so far spent 200 million pounds, and I think they still have money. Arsenal has been performing very well on Europe and in the Premier League, and they've been really getting in a lot of money. You understand? And their wage bill is not as high as that of Man United. If Man United have so far spent close to 200 million pounds, that means Arsenal has a lot of more money to spend. Remember, in the January transfer window, Arsenal had a budget to spend of close to 160 million pounds. But even though they had obviously qualify for the quarterfinals, for the was it quarterfinals? And then I think where are the semifinals, right? Semifinals of the Champions League, where they are knocked out by a team known as PSG. You understand? So, as it stands, I smell something called an Eberechi as a deal being done even before these players are going to have to be offloaded. Because I know Arsenal really has the money, and Arsenal only wanted to go into this Eberechi as a deal when the release clause has expired. After the release clause got expired, it really gave them a chance, or it was, to operate into the best vicinity possible. So that's all about a plan known as Eberechi Eze, and Arsenal really having a plan of really first offloading players and seeing to it that they obviously get him in. The other story is all about Rodrigo, that Arsenal are really considering to secure a loan deal for Rodrigo from Real Madrid. I think for that, I'll obviously have to bring it in its own perspective, because if I'm to really do that, we might go into another long journey. But it shows you that they also have an option for obviously getting in a player known as Rodrigo at the club of Arsenal. So we wait and see how that pans out in the mix. But it's really very important, to really understand that the plan for Eberechi Eze is in place, and Arsenal plan to first offload, then look out for Eberechi Eze. And Eberechi Eze is going to have to give them his word that I'm there for you and I'm going nowhere. I'm obviously going to be getting you to where you want to be. So that is it for the side of Eberechi Eze, and obviously coming in through to represent at the club of Arsenal. Yesterday, as Aston Villa was playing against a team called AS Roma, there is a player that really went ahead to obviously get injured, and that player goes by the names of Morgan Rogers. If you've gone ahead to obviously watch out onto Morgan Rogers, he's really one of those players that really does a lot for this club. And they got him, I think, from Middlesbrough and the January transfer window of 2023 and of 2024 rather, and he has really proven his worth. Now, that is Tanswell has told us that initial assessments indicate the ankle injury Morgan Rogers picked up against Roma is not thought to be so serious. Caution remains as further tests will take place, but as of Thursday morning, hopeful of featuring against Newcastle. So, in that game of Aston Villa beat Roma by 4-0. Buendia, Jacob Ramsey, Oli Watkins, and Daniel Malen came in through and really represented to the fullest. So the player really went ahead to obviously get an injury, and they are still having some other games to play as the side of Newcastle, as on the 9th they are going to be playing Marseille, and over the weekend they'll obviously play against Villarreal, and they'll open up their Premier League campaign again by hosting a team known as Newcastle in there for you. And it's said that it's hopeful he'll be available when they're playing against Newcastle. But if he doesn't really represent when they're playing against Newcastle, it will be a very big miss for a team known as Aston Villa. And I know that the manager, Unai Emery, will really feel disappointed to see to it that he has not gone ahead and obviously getting this player with him. So that's what we've gone ahead obviously have in here onto the Rokani Media Football as far as Morgan Rogers is really concerned. But when you look at his stats, I tell you what, he's one of a kind. That's why Chelsea, Man United, Liverpool were all interested in him because of what he put out in his first full season at the side of Villa. He played 37 games, meaning that he's not an injury-prone player. That's why they think he'll obviously present for the side of Newcastle when they're sold out. And he played 37 games. He scored 8 goals and 10 assists. And he's just 23 years of age. And he turned 23 this year. So that means 8 goals and 10 assists that he's in the Premier League. Those are 18 goal involvements for Morgan Rogers. Excellent. And in the Champions League, he played 12 games, 4 goals and 2 assists, meaning that he scored 12 goals and 12 assists. 24 goal involvement in 49 games, meaning that every 2 games, he averaged a goal or an assist. That is Morgan Rogers for you. And I just love the guy. I just love him. I feel like he's one of those talented English players that will obviously turn around the England national team when they go to the World Cup. And he has so far played 3 games for the England national team in the season of 2025-2026. His performances saw Thomas Tuchel feel like he is the lad I need to be part of my team, and he earned himself a place there. So guys, thank you very much for watching through, and let's obviously get into the last story, where we were told yesterday that voting is obviously gonna be on after FC Barcelona withdrew the captain's armband from Ter Stegen. He's no longer the squad captain. You understand? So why did they obviously have to obviously get the armband of him? You understand? We have a source from Fabrizio Romano that breaking: Barca removed Marc Ter Stegen from his role as the team captain. Decision follows disciplinary proceedings opened against Marc Ter Stegen. During this period, the duties of the first captain will be assumed by a current vice captain, that is Ronald Araujo. Now, Ter Stegen is really having issues with Barcelona, and the issues are all about him being not considered to be the first choice goalkeeper of Barcelona anymore. Ever since they signed Juan Garcia, looks like they want to put Juan Garcia in his position, and he's not really ready to welcome it. And he's like, please, I'm leaving, you know. And for Barcelona, they feel like a captain cannot obviously act like that, and they want him to obviously act better. But that act of really unbanning him from the captaincy, that means they're obviously going to sell him. And for Ter Stegen, he wants to get to a club that will obviously see him play day in, day out, as Manuel Neuer went ahead, obviously hung up his boots for the national team of Germany, and Ter Stegen has been that guy that has obviously gone ahead, obviously represent for the for the country of Germany. So if it doesn't go well, then he needs to obviously get to where he'll obviously be playing regularly to represent for the World Cup of 2026 come next year in the summer. So wait and see how that will pan out. And they're going to be voting, I think, for the captain, this week. And we'll be letting you know who is the new captain of Barcelona. Rokani David is my name. Feel free to go into the comment section and tell me your thoughts about Arsenal's plan to sign Eberechi as revealed. I don't know what your thoughts are really going to be about that, but I feel like we're obviously going to be having a very good discussion for that. Morgan Rogers injured. How big a blow is that to Aston Villa? And lastly, you tell me what you think about Ter Stegen being withdrawn off the captaincy of Barcelona. Way out. Bye-bye.